Well, okay, I'll keep, Bill, keep this with your stuff. It says that you were interviewed on this date, and you are on tape number 51, and this tape will be on the shelf at the Portsmouth Public Library.
All right.
For anybody to come down and see, so, you know, 100 years from now, your greats can go down there and watch you and listen to you.
Yeah. Be able to hear a voice.
Be able to hear a voice. So, okay, let's start with your name. You told me your name, Bill, was William Edison Bower, B-O-W-E-R.
That's correct.
And when were you born again?
I was born February the 20th, 1939.
Where were you born?
I was born at the old General Hospital in Portsmouth, Ohio.
And now your present address is, tell me your present address.
It's 1129 Bourne Boulevard, Apartment F, Wheelersburg, Ohio.
Okay, in fact, that's where we are right now.
That's correct. That's where we are now.
Now, are you retired?
Yes, I am.
What did you retire from?
I retired from Portsmouth Metropolitan Housing Authority.
How long were you there?
I was with Portsmouth Metropolitan Housing Authority 10 years, and I had my spine severed on the job.
I see.
And that ended my career.
Okay, and then what did you do there? Were you in?
I was maintenance. In fact, I was maintenance at the high rise for the elderly.
Oh, okay. Is that the Hudson House?
Well, I was in the Hudson House, but I was also in the Cliffside House in New Boston.
Cliffside, right.
I was in the Alexander House. That was my longest term, was the Alexander House. I was there for 9 years. Okay. Or wait a minute, no, correction, I was there 7 years. Okay. And then they moved me to the Hudson House, and that's where my back went out on me.
Well, before the PMHA, where were you before then? What was your job then?
Before Portsmouth Metropolitan Housing Authority, I had worked for a company in Worcester, Ohio, called Woodward Manufacturing Corporation, that closed their doors.
What did they do?
They manufactured parts for heavy equipment, such as dozers, backhoes, and different things like this. I was in the paint department.
I see.
Which I painted, and we got called in one day, and they told us that he couldn't compete against foreign imports, and
time to go.
It was time to go.
Well, how much education, how far did you get in school?
Well, I went through high school.
Where did you graduate from?
Put-in-Bay High School.
Put-in-Bay High School, that's in Ohio,
yeah, Put-in-Bay, Ohio, Put-in-Bay Island. And
how many kids in your graduating class?
4.
That's right. I wrote about that. You know, sometimes
4.
There's 1, sometimes there's 6.
Yeah, there's 4. In fact, my old grade school there at North Bass Elementary was closed at the end of last year. Really? Forever.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, there was 2 students that graduated from it, and there was no more to replace, and so they closed the school forever.
Have you been back there? Did you go back anytime?
I have been back. In fact, I went and worked on the island for a while.
Oh.
And but you can't go home.
No.
You know, it's different.
Well, you graduated from high school. When did you graduate then? What
1956.
Year? And then what happened? Where
I went to the United States Air Force.
Did you have any continuing education after that?
Not until after I came out of the military.
What happened? What did you do?
Well, when I was in Michigan, working for Ford Motor Company, I went to Detroit Bible College.
Okay.
And I worked days, then went to school nights for 4 years.
Is that where you got your ministry then? Did
yes.
you graduate from there? Okay. What year did you graduate from there?
1967.
Now, are you married?
Yes, I am.
And your wife's name is what?
Mary.
Okay. Now, Portsmouth Library likes for me to get a genealogical line.
Okay.
And now, what was your father's name?
George Emery Bower.
And where was he from?
He was born in Jefferson Township in Adams County.
Okay.
On February the 14th, 1882.
What did he do for a living?
Well, Dad was originally started out as a blacksmith and a boilermaker, and then he worked for Myers Wine Cellar Corporation on North Bass Island.
Where was he a blacksmith?
On 4th Street in Portsmouth.
Did he have his own shop there?
Fourth and Madison.
Did he have?
Yes.
He actually had a
yeah.
blacksmith shop.
He had a blacksmith shop there. And
Uh-huh.
of course, he didn't know the blacksmith and the Boilermakers were going to be a profession that was going to go out.
It'll be obsolete, weren't
Yeah.
it?
I saw him, they were trying to weld a piece of metal together, and the tractor kept breaking it. And Larry Wires, who was the foreman there on North Bass Island, asked Dad if he could do it. Dad used the old method and fused them two pieces together. They could never break it.
It never came apart after that.
After that, he had the knowledge of putting it. All the settling welding they tried to do wouldn't hold. But the old part of getting the metal and put it together, and it actually just flows together and makes one thing, and then he would stretch it, toss it in water to temper it. He has certain. I wish I had really learned from him how to do this. I don't know.
You don't know where that skill is anymore, if anybody has it at all.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, what was your mother's name?
My mother's name was Carrie
What was her maiden name?
Burris.
B-U-R-R-I-S. Now, where was she from?
She was from Adair County, Kentucky.
Okay. And now your father's father and mother's name. Your grandparents on your father's
my grandparents,
side.
my father's grandfather's name was George Emery Bauer, also. My grandmother's name was Dorsa.
Okay.
Dorsla Ann. I've got all this.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Has anybody written this down?
Yes, I've got a complete copy of it.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it in your personal effects here?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So anybody, say, 100 years from now, who would be able to trace their lineage, how far back can you go?
I went back into the 1700s.
Okay. Were they were they in the United States at that time? Were
No.
they in England or?
They were in, it was Scotland and Germany.
Okay.
And then Ireland.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then go to your mother's side now, and what was her father's name?
John Burris.
Okay. Where was he from?
He was from Adair County, Kentucky.
Adair County.
Yes.
Where is Adair County, Kentucky?
Adair County is in southwestern Kentucky, right on the border of Tennessee.
Okay.
It's about, I would say 50 miles east of Glasgow, Kentucky.
Okay. I know where Glasgow is. Now, your mother's name
Was Anna Mae Slinker.
S-L-I-N-K.
S-L-I-N-K-E-R.
E-R. Okay. What did all these people do? Do you remember?
My grandfather,
Farmers and...
he was a farmer.
Which one?
My grandfather, John Burris,
Okay.
was a farmer and also a pastor of the Mount Gilead Baptist Church in Mount Gilead, Kentucky.
Have you been down there?
Oh yes, I've been in the church.
Have you?
Yes. One of the relations is still pastoring the church today.
Well, now your father was a blacksmith. What was his father?
You know, I really
Right.
don't know what he was.
It wouldn't have been unusual being a blacksmith for him either.
I think
Maybe.
I think my grandfather was a farmer.
Okay. Okay. Now, going. Well, let me ask you your wife's parents' names.
Okay, my wife's parents' name was, her father's name was Gilbert Dill, D-I-L-L, and her mother's name was Luella.
Okay. What was Luella's maiden name? Do you know?
Munyon,
Munyon. Okay. Were they from around here?
Yeah.
Or were they?
out at Bloom Township.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I live out in South Webster there.
Okay, she's not,
Gill and Munyon.
yeah, Dill and Munyon.
Dill, not
Yeah,
Gill, but Dill.
Dill, D-I-L-L.
Okay. Now, going in the other, do you have children?
Yes, we do.
Okay. How many children do you have?
We have 4.
And they are boys and girls, or what?
Well, there's 4 boys there's 3 boys and 1 girl.
And now, what are their names? Just
Okay,
name them.
Gary,
Gary.
then there's Charles,
Uh-huh.
then the girl Lori comes in, and then Jody
Uh-huh.
is the youngest one.
Okay, that's the boy.
Yeah, boy.
Now, are they spread out around?
Yes, well, Gary lives in Portsmouth.
Okay,
Now, Gary is my stepson.
okay.
His last name is Dill.
D-I-L-L.
Yeah, D-I-L. Now, the other three are my children, and they live in Virginia.
Okay. Now, do you have grandchildren?
Yes, we do.
How many? A bunch.
Oh, let's see. I think the last count was 11.
We'll stop there.
And, well, no.
You didn't know there was going to be a test, did you?
Then
Did you
there's
study?
7 great-grandchildren.
Oh my goodness, okay.
So, some of them live in West Virginia, some in Ohio.
Do you have any great-greats?
No.
Okay, it's coming.
Yeah, if I live long enough.
Yeah, you'll make it, I have a feeling. Let's say now that you, after you graduated from high school, I think you told me that was
1956.
You went into the Air Force.
Yes.
Okay. When did you get out of the Air Force?
I got out in 1961.
What was your rank when you got out?
My rank? Yes. Airman first class.
Now you went to boot camp or basic, whatever. Where was that? Where was your basic?
I went to Lackland Air Force Base, San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio. And how long was your basic?
Oh, basic, well, I was in the normal 6 weeks, and then we were redlined for another 6 weeks.
What does that mean?
It means that they couldn't, I qualified for radio operator, but it was filled, the school.
Hmm?
So I couldn't get into it.
Mm-hmm.
So they was trying to figure out a place to put me. So finally I wound up in pavements and grounds, which is a fancy name for operating a pick and shovel, bulldozer, front end loader operator. I mean,
Did you have to go to advanced training for that sort of thing?
yeah,
Okay.
that was all the job. I mean, they took us out to piece of equipment and said, there it is.
Yeah. Well, now, you were there at Lackland for how many weeks then? Would that have been?
I was at Lackland for 12 weeks all total.
Okay. Then where did you go?
I went to Reese Air Force Base in Lubbock, Texas.
Did you like San Antonio? Did you like it?
Yes, I did. I liked it. Didn't get to see a whole lot of it.
Right.
Although, you know, we'd go into town. In boot camp, you don't get a whole lot of liberties.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
No, you don't get much of that.
we got, I think I went in town 3 times in the 12 weeks I was there.
See the Alamo and all that?
Yes, I did. Me and my wife were just down there again in December,
Really?
and she got to see the Alamo.
Now, so you went to Reese. Where is Reese Air Force Base?
Reese Air Force Base is in Lubbock, Texas.
Do they still have it? Is it still
As
open?
far as I know, it is still in operation.
Okay. How long were you at Lubbock, Texas?
See, I was in Lubbock, Texas, about a year and a half.
Is that where you operated the shovel?
Yeah. That's because I said, you know, the first thing the Air Force ever taught me to operate was a Mexican backhoe, which is pick and shovel.
Oh, okay.
From there, I started operating bulldozers.
And you were there about a year. And what did you do? What kind of bulldozing? Were they building the field? Or?
Well, actually, no. My job was digging pits, because the Air Force had a motto: any food you didn't finish eating, you burned and you buried. So we dig these garbage pits. They'd be around 6 feet deep, and all the garbage come in, it'd be dumped in that, and then we'd bury it. Well, in fact, we'd set it on fire and burn it first to make sure it was burned up. And then we'd bury it. Then we'd go dig another hole. Sometimes I think we dug up the same hole that we had before.
Probably.
After a while, you know.
Yeah. Well, you were there, and did you like Lubbock, Texas? What kind of community?
Lubbock, Texas, yeah, it's a very friendly community. The entire city is built like a wagon wheel.
Oh.
No matter where you go, you can go to the center of the city. A lot like Circleville, Ohio. That's built in a circle.
Okay. And then, well, where did you go from Lubbock then?
Well, from Lubbock, Texas, then I went to Duval Air Force Base, Frankfurt, Germany.
Duval.
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 D-U-V-O-L-L.
What did you do there?
Over there,
Mm-hmm.
started out doing the same thing, but then wound up going through airborne training
Okay. For the Air Force?
for the Air Force.
Huh. I didn't know Air Force had any airborne. Were they like rescue?
Yeah, rescue unit.
Okay. And then how long were you there in Germany?
I was there in Germany for about, I think it was 14 months, and then came back to the States to Wright-Patterson.
That would put you up, let me see if my timing is right here, maybe 58, 59?
Yeah,
in that area
came
there?
back in early '59.
That was kind of a tense time over there, wasn't it?
Very tense,
Uh-huh.
although the German people seemed to take it in stride.
Right. Well, you were at Frankfurt?
Yeah, Duval Air Force, they're at Frankfurt, Germany.
Okay. And did you get over on the border with East Germany or anything like that?
Got over at the border, but that's as far as we got.
Okay.
You know, we weren't allowed to go over in the border, you know, across that border.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Now, did you actually do your airborne there? Your airborne training at Duval?
we done the biggest part of it there.
Okay. How long did that take? How long was it?
6 weeks.
Okay. When I think of airborne, you know, I think of the 82nd and that sort of thing in Fort Benning.
Yeah, well, there you're going into extensive ranger training there at Fort Bennet.
Uh-huh.
We went through some of that, but not the extent that the Army Rangers go through.
So this was, you were airborne for the purpose of they would take you to rescue somebody.
Yeah,
Would
we
jump
had to
in.
rescue somebody where we could jump to get into them to bring them back out.
Did you ever have to do anything like that?
Twice.
Really? What happened?
They were planes down,
Pilots?
pilots down, and the only way we could get into them, it was such a rough terrain, was to go ahead and jump. And went in and got them, packed them up. Helicopters came in, we loaded up on it, and then we was airlifted out.
Huh. Was that in Germany then?
Yeah, that was in Germany. I was right there close. One of them went down next to the Rhine, and the other one was up there next to Bonn.
Interesting then. I bet those guys were grateful, weren't they? Were they hurt bad?
Yeah, both of them were.
Really?
I mean, they managed to bail out, but then come down in trees.
Yeah. Yeah. So that probably knocked them up pretty much.
Yeah, it's, I'll tell you what, you gotta know what you're doing if you're coming down in trees.
Well, then you would have to come down in trees, wouldn't you? I mean, did they drop you and you come down in
Well,
trees?
we came down, but we guided ourselves over into a clear patch and then
I see.
went into where they were at.
Okay.
Other words, we didn't drop right in next to them. We had to work our way to them.
Now you were at, did you go into Frankfurt much? Did you have an opportunity to get into the city?
Yes, went into the Frankfurt. The people there are really something else. And what astonished me more than anything else, the biggest part of them people could speak English better than I could.
Really?
Come to find out, in their school, English was a mandatory subject.
Well, that was a good idea. And that's just a few years, maybe what, 12, 13 years after the war. How
Yeah.
did they treat you? Treat you okay?
Respect. I
Did
mean,
they?
there seemed to be no animosity there. Oh, you'd have some that would look at you kind of funny,
Uh-huh.
but outside of that,
Okay.
I think the people understood that, you know, that war over there, that I think they were glad to get rid of Hitler.
They knew firsthand what happened.
Yeah, these people did. I talked to Germans, and they really were thankful for the United States for going in and taking him out, although they never found him.
Then, let's see, when did you get back to the United States then?
I got back to the United States in 1959.
While you were over there, did you get to travel in Europe any?
The only time that we actually traveled, we was going on a little mission on a convoy, and we started up through, and we got stopped at a little town called Malheim. Wouldn't let us through, and it was on the 4th day of October, couldn't come through. So they went up to see the mayor and asked him, nope, can't come through. You can't, nope, cannot bring your things through our town. And so, let's see, who was that? That was Captain Barnes. If my memory serves me right, Captain Barnes asked him, well, what do you suggest? He said, this is Oktoberfest. You cannot come through our town. He said, well, how long would that be? And he says, another 3 days. But he said, then what? He says, come and join us. Oh, we had, see, in our convoy.
Is that what happened?
It was 222 men in our convoy. And he came back to got everybody grouped in around, and he says, verbal, pass 8 classes for everybody. And you know, there was some of the German people took us into their homes.
Really?
So we could spend the night there. The food and the beer
German
was free.
Beer. Free?
Yeah. And they'd hand you a stein. Well, I call them a huge mug. They said a stein. And I found out that their beer is a lot different than ours. It's a lot better.
My wife and I were in Germany a few years ago. It is different.
Yeah.
They know beer.
Yeah, they do. They know beer. They don't, it's not homogenized.
Yeah.
And it doesn't run the taste of it. I mean, their beer is something else.
That's kind of funny. So you were on a convoy, you're heading north, you get to this little town. How big was it? What was the name of it again?
Malheim.
Malheim?
New Boston.
Okay. And he says, it's Oktoberfest, sorry you can't come through.
Yeah.
But come on down.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, if we had a backtrack to find a road big enough to haul for our equipment to go on, then it would have took us 3 days. Because we'd had to go clear to the coast.
Okay.
And
well, oh gosh, I hate to ask this. I can imagine soldiers at Oktoberfest stuck for 3 days. Is that the way it was?
Well, you could call it stuck if you wanted
Well, I
to,
mean.
but you know, we rather enjoyed ourselves.
Okay. And then Oktoberfest ends, and did you proceed on through the
Yes,
town?
once it was over with,
Okay.
we were allowed to proceed, because their main street was big enough for our equipment to cover through.
Okay.
And we went on through, and went on up to Bonn.
Well, what did the commanding officer say? I mean, this captain's got somebody above him, a major.
Well,
a colonel.
he radioed and told them they couldn't get there for 3 days. He said, we're going to have to wait here until, you know, it's time to, you know, that we can get through the town. He said, or else we're going to have to go around. And he was told to wait.
Good for him.
Well, but he didn't.
Another 200 men.
He didn't tell them what all it was about, I don't think.
Oh, well.
Or if he had of,
Minimized it.
I would have had an idea them officers would have been down there.
Just to check it out.
Well, they'd have been down, they just stayed.
Do you have any more stories like that?
No,
that's a pretty good one. And you rescued some guys?
Yeah, rescued a couple of pilots. And it was interesting, because I know the first time I jumped, that I was first one in line, because there was no A's, and I was the first B. Alphabetical.
Well, how'd that make you feel?
Well, I went off the towers, all this I had done beautiful on this, no problem. Oh, this will be a piece of cake. I got up in that doorway and froze. First thing I know, there was no airplane underneath me.
You were given an assist.
Yes, well, what had happened, the sergeant knocked my hands down and his brogan in my back, and out that door I went. Because, see, the military has no free fall. That's static. Everything is static line pull off. You don't wait to fall to see if to do it. The only ones that's going to have a free fall are pilots who jump. you know, that bail out of a plane.
Mm-hmm. So did you like doing that after a while? I mean, how many jumps did you make altogether?
Oh, altogether, I would say probably about 45.
Huh, so you got used to it, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean after the first time it was fine, I'd just go out the door.
Uh-huh.
It was that initial first time.
Mm-hmm. What's that like? You're out the door and boom, you get jerked.
Well, you're out the door, the static line pulls your chute out, and you want to make sure that you're leaning back just a little bit. Because when that chute opens up, that K-10 opens all at once.
What's the K-10? Is that the parachute?
That's the name of the parachute, it's K-10. It's the old Army chute. They don't use these anymore, thank God. But that thing will jerk. And I mean to tell you, if you're leaning forward, your tentacles are going to feel like they're up around your throat.
Really? So you want to lean back?
You lean back where your buttocks take the jerk. And then, of course, the minute that happens, you're snapped like this. And then you start swinging back and forth, and finally you settle down.
Is it quiet coming down?
Yeah, it's quiet. I mean, it's you feel some air around you, you know, coming down before that chute opens up.
Well, okay, you come back to where'd you come back to? Right Patterson?
Right Pat.
Okay. How long were you there?
I was right Pat there. I was there for 9 months, then discharged.
Okay. What did you do at Wright Patterson?
Me?
Back to the
We were
back home?
we were just no, we were rescue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this was your enlist
And
at that time.
the only thing we did there at Wright Patterson is that they sent a pilot out. They'd be 2 in the plane. One would bail out and we'd have to go get them.
This was your training?
Yeah, training. We'd go get them.
Did you ever have an actual rescue incident while you were at Wright Pat?
No. No, there was no rescue incident there. Everything was just for practice.
Okay. You were ready though. I mean, it was something. I remember one time up here. Where did that happen? Up around Powellsville, there was an Air Force jet that crashed.
Yeah,
and,
I remember reading about that.
There was a guy that parachuted out. He did okay. You know, but I was just a boy at the time. It was a real big deal when you go and see that plane. But so you were discharged. And when were you discharged?
I was discharged in 1960. I came out
1960.
October the 18th, 1960.
And did you like the Air Force?
It was pretty good, but I'm like a lot of other people. I like civilian life.
You're glad you did it, but you didn't want to go back and repeat it.
And at that point, that's when I went back to North Pass Island.
Okay.
And
after you were discharged?
Yeah, after I was discharged.
You went back to...
And then when Dad retired, and he had to come back, and then he moved to Sandusky at first, then later come back down here to come back home. What he called home. And then they lived here. And they were here until, well, in fact, both of them lived here until they passed away.
Well, then when did you come back? How long were you at North Pass after you got out of the Air Force and went up there? How long did you stay?
I would say probably we was there a year and a half.
And then you moved back down?
Then
with him? And...
I brought them back to down here. Then I went back. I've been there about a year.
Okay.
And
do you want to get that, or?
No, we'll let the answer machine get it.
Okay.
And or she probably got it already, whoever it is. But then I went back for a short while, and there were no women really my age on the island, so I decided it was time to...
No reason to stay.
You know, or to bail out, you know.
So to speak.
And I went over to Port Clinton.
What did you do over there?
I worked for U.S. Gypsum.
Okay.
There at Gypsum, Ohio.
Did that, what does U.S. Gypsum do? I mean,
they make paper and also gypsum boards.
Gypsum board.
Yeah,
right.
like this drywall right here. They
Exactly.
make that.
Exactly. How long were you with them?
I was them about about 4 years, and I couldn't get what I wanted, so I quit.
Okay.
Yes, dear.
I thought you knocked on the door.
Oh, I know. I just was pecking on this.
No, we were talking about drywall at the time.
Oh, okay.
I thought maybe there's something on the phone or something.
Well, is that when you went to Detroit then? After that?
I came back down to Portsmouth, and at that time, I went to work for the old West Side Cab Company, driving for them. And while driving for them, I'd heard that there was jobs up in Michigan. Well, in fact, I'd got married, because this is my second wife. And I left and went to Michigan to get a job, and I went up there. My first job was Great Lakes Steel Mill.
Did you make good money at the steel mill?
I made pretty good money as a yeoman, and then went to from there to a charger, assistant charger, then charger. Then I heard that Ford Motor Company was hiring, and they were going to pay $2.75 an hour. Boy, I tell you now, back in the around '62, that's big money. You know, $2.75 an hour. So I had to take a test, mathematical test. Well, I had to do that for Great Lakes Steel, and math is always my best subject in school.
So you breezed through.
So just breezed right on through it. Went to work for Ford Motor Company, and I was with them.
Did you take your family up? Did you have a family started
Yeah.
then?
Then we moved up there, and worked up there, and then finally Ford had their big layoff in '74.
Did you get caught up in that?
I got caught up in that big layoff. I mean, they took people. I started with Woodhaven Stamping Plant, which was not completed when I went to work there, and helped to really set the plant up. And they had people from Dearborn with 15 years seniority were bumping, and I got bumped out. So.
Well, after that, you did. What happened then?
Well, there was nothing going.
What can you do?
At this point, that my first wife's parents lived in Defiance, Ohio, so we went down to Defiance, and I got a job with John Mansfield Fiberglass Company. Worked for them. Fiberglass liked to eat me up though. And
did you get silicosis or anything out of that?
Not to my knowledge.
Lung problem?
No, because we were where I was on a grinder, and we're doing it, and we had to wear facial masks. You know, that was one of the requirements.
That saved you.
Yeah. And now there was a couple of people that refused to wear it, and they didn't make them do it, and one of them died a short time afterwards. His lungs were just cut all to pieces with glass. And, so
well, how long were you there with them?
I was with them for 2 years, and then from there went with General Motors, got laid off from General Motors, and went back to Michigan, and went back to work for Ford again. And that didn't last long, and that's got laid off from there, then found out that there was work in Virginia in the coal mine, strip mines. Well, my bulldozer out, you know, training and everything, I went down there and applied, and they wanted me to go up and help cut a bench. I went up, and within 2 hours, a guy come up there and he said, "You're hired."
How long were you with them?
I was with the H&R Mining Company then for 2 years, and they closed because he made the biggest mistake of his life. Now, I knew a little bit about coal, not as much. When we was going back through, we hit a Widow Kennedy seam. Now, Widow Kennedy is 6 foot of pure coal. It's very top grade. But Widow Kennedy ends as fast as it starts. He put all of his equipment back in there, and that seam run out. We hit 3 foot coal. He went bankrupt trying to get his stuff out.
Really? That was the end of that.
That was the end of that.
Oh, you moved around a lot, haven't you? I mean,
Yeah, I moved around
jobs
quite a
and
bit,
things like
different
that?
things, you know, and finally, that's where me and my first wife split. Although, we're friends now.
Mm-hmm. Is she local? Is she still?
No, she's in Virginia.
With the kids up there? Or
They,
nearby?
they live in a general area, but they don't see her that often.
What do they do, the kids?
Well, Joe, the youngest one, it's just jenning around this and that, getting odd jobs here and there, and his wife works full-time. Then, of course, he works and brings in. Charles, well, actually, Lori, the daughter, she worked for Hardee's for 15 years, then worked for Coburn School System in the cafeteria.
Okay.
So, she's married and has 2 children.
So they have families going
They have
on.
family. Joe's, they have,
Yeah.
him and Charlene have 2, and then Charles is my oldest one. He was a mechanic on strip mine equipment. The guy came in and closed the place.
Oh, darn.
And, but just before we left there, we found out he had put an application in for Caterpillar. Well, his daughter's, Samantha's boyfriend's father is one of the guys up in Caterpillar who's been there a long time. He already told Charles, he says, don't
He's
worry.
ready. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. He says, you're in.
Good to know.
You know, so it boils down, it isn't what you know, it's who you know.
So you know. And now getting back to your Air Force and the people you met while you were in the Air Force, have you ever kept in contact with any of those guys?
I tried to find some here a while back, and I run into a dead end.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're living or not. In fact, the fellow that we bummed together and chummed around together was named Ronald Clubb. He's from Charleston, South Carolina. I contacted even down through Charleston. I found some of his relation, but could never locate him. They didn't know where he was at.
Oh my. Well, you still have your uniform?
Well,
up in the closet somewhere?
no, I
Yeah.
don't have it anymore because, I mean, it wouldn't fit me if I did. I mean, it's just, back then I weighed 147 pounds.
Really?
Yeah. I weigh 270 now.
Okay. Well, you don't have to jump out of any
Planes anyway, so why?
No. Well, in fact, after having this knee replaced,
Right.
Dr. Trinidad, who did it, he told me, he says, there's 2 things I don't want you to do. Because he heard that what I had done. He said, I don't want you to run or jump.
Right.
I looked at him, I said, Doc, I have no intention of doing either one.
Well, while you were in the Air Force, did you meet anybody famous? Meet any famous generals?
Let's see. The only one that I met would have been, I'm trying to think of what his name is now. But he served with Patton during the Second World War. I never got to see Patton or MacArthur or any of them.
Did you see any famous like USO, movie stars or anything like that while you were there?
Oh yeah.
Who?
Was there. Dottie West came and sang for us one time, and then Carl Perkins.
Really, Carl
Yeah.
Perkins?
Yeah, Carl Perkins.
I think, didn't he just die recently?
Yeah, Carl
Yeah.
Perkins just died recently, and
Okay.
and while I was there, Johnny Cash had came in.
Did you get to see him?
Oh yes, yeah, Johnny
Did
Cash.
you
I
see
got to
Johnny
meet
Cash?
Johnny.
Did you
But,
go see that movie? He had a movie. He's got a called Walk.
No, I've never seen it, although I'd like to.
But
But I met him, and then little Jimmy Dickens.
oh, really?
Yeah, he's a character. saw him because we went into one of the nightclubs there in Lubbock, is where I met them, and
There he was.
yeah, and he would talk to us just same
Singing and
as anybody.
singing.
And yeah, Johnny Cash. I mean, he was just as common as an old shoe.
Are you in any veterans groups or any organizations like that? Veterans organizations? VFW?
No, I'm not with the VFW or anything.
American
I'm
Legion?
I'm in the Masons.
Okay, you're a traveling man?
Yes, I am a traveling man.
Where's your lodge? Down here, west?
No, my lodge is, I belong to two, Aurora 48 in Portsmouth and Nauvoo 769 in West Portsmouth.
Very good.
But I'm an officer at Nauvoo 769.
Oh, you are? You're an officer there?
Yeah, I'm chaplain,
Okay,
but I'm also a past master of both lodges.
very good. Well, listen, Bill, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure with you.
Okay, I always shake hands of our veterans. And,
Do you have anything else you'd like to say? Anything you'd like to add?
Oh, gosh, I can't think of anything.
Okay.